Hey, it's Valerie, and today I want to show you how to create flickering lights with a focus on how to reflect that light onto the main object in your scene, while keeping the reflection perfectly synced with the light source. As you can see here in the example, the reflection on the character's face flickers exactly like the light coming from the phone. We'll practice this twice, once in a dark scene and then again in a brighter design. With that said, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with creating our first composition. Let's call it master comp. This time we will work on Instagram feed resolution. 30 frames per second and make it 50 seconds with a black background. Alright, and now let's import the illustrations we're going to use in this tutorial. We'll be using these two illustrations of a boy holding a phone, and you can download these illustrations in the description below if you want to use them, but I want to show you how I created them. I just go to ChatGPT and I ask him to create an illustration of a young boy holding his phone. I told him to make it without a background, with transparent background, and then I saw that he's not looking to the phone, so I asked him to make him look to this phone, and then he created this one. So I downloaded this. Then I created another illustration with the boy with his eyes closed. Oh, and by the way, if you want to really get the most out of ChatGPT to help you work smarter in After Effects, you should definitely check out my new crash course, AI for Motion. In this course, you will learn how to create super useful expression setups for your projects, like carousels, bouncy motion, hover effects, click automations, and more. My main goal is to teach you the formula for generating any expression you need using just 3 simple steps, even if you have no idea what expressions are. It's a 5 lessons course where you get hands-on practice, and by the end you will unlock a whole new world for your workflow. You will finally learn how to really leverage AI for your motion design projects, not just generating images or short clips. You can get this course on its own or grab one of the motion bundle deals and get the course at 50% off during checkout. It will pop up as an upsell. And if you want to go all in with the most value-packed motion bundle, you can now split the payment into 4 easy installments. To my surprise, I already have students who've taken advantage of this new payment feature. I'll leave all the links in the descriptions below. Alright, back to the tutorial. So now I will import these 2 illustrations, and let's start with the first one. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create the light coming from the screen of the phone. So for this, let's make sure we're not selecting any layer because we don't want to create a mask, and use the pen tool to create this thing. So for now, let's choose a regular fill color. You can make it gray, it's not matter for now, and make sure it's without a stroke. And now just create this kind of shape. And now let's make it look more like a light. For this, we need to switch the fill color to gradient color, okay? So you maybe don't see the colors as in my case, and it's okay, because we will work on it from scratch together. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to select the first color here, and then click here, and make sure the opacity of this color is 0, because we want to make it transparent. And now I want you to make this color black, alright? Because we are going to use a black background, and because of this it's better to make this color even if it's with 0 opacity. As you noticed, we still can get his effect on the color, on the gradient. So because we will use a dark background, it's better to set it to black for now. Then let's click on this color, and for this let's make sure the opacity is 100, Now let's choose a nice and blue color. Now we want to adjust this gradient. For this, click on the selection tool and you will see these two handles of the gradient. If you don't see it, don't worry, just open your content and open your shape and then select the gradient fill. And if you still can see it, you can actually adjust the handles like this. So let's set it to minus 50 for now, and this one we want to bring, let's say, somewhere around here. Just make sure you're not going here, okay, with the first color, because it's going to create this weird situation. So for this, I will select the gradient fill and make sure I put this color somewhere around here, and this color, let's say, somewhere around here. Of course, you can adjust the shape, you know, to fit the phone screen. And if you wanted to affect more of the scene, so you can, you know, scale it up or scale it down. I want it to be on his face only, so I'll make it something like this. Anyway, let's put this layer below the character and let's change the name to phone light. Now let's parent this layer to the character. For any case, if you want to move the character, we want this one to move with it. Great. The next step we want to do is we want to make this light animated in a flickery way, and to do it, it's very simple. First, let's press T to open the opacity property, and now hold down Alt or Option on Mac and click on the stopwatch of the opacity to open up the expression panel and use the wiggle expression. So let's see how it looks. In my case, I'm good with that. So let's continue with the second part of this illusion of creating the lighting touching his face. For this, I actually want to teach you a very easy trick to do, and it's using the inner shadow effect. So right click on the layer, go to layer styles and select inner shadow. So now you maybe can't see it. So first let's scale the opacity to 100 and set the color to be like lighter blue, like this. And so we can see the bright color, we need to switch the blending mode of this effect to screen. And now, as you can see, we see the effect here. So we need to adjust the position of this effect to match our scene. So in our case, actually can set it to 0 because this is where we want the lighting to appear. And now we can play around with the distance of this effect. So let's set it to 15, and we can play around with the size, which is actually the softness of the effect. So now we're already getting a nice illusion of the lighting coming from the phone. So if you want to adjust these parts, just play around with the position of the effect, like this maybe, and set the distance to some higher number. Yeah, so there are the properties that you want to play around with, okay, and maybe with the distance and maybe with the size. So let's set it to 15 and this one 25. All right, looks great. And now what we want to do is we want to match the flickering of the phone with the flickering of this reflection, and it's actually pretty easy to do, and this is the main goal of this tutorial. If you have similar properties like the opacity here and the opacity of the effect here, you can actually parent between them. So we want this opacity to match this opacity, because here we have the flickering animation. So all we need to do is we need just to parent this specific property to this property. And now it's going to move together, and we will have the illusion of the reflection from the iPhone screen, which looks very, very nice. And now to make this effect look a little bit stronger, we can actually add a glow effect. Okay, so we can search for glow and add the glow effect on the boy. Okay, like this. So from what I found, it's actually better to set it to the glow threshold to 0 and the glow intensity to 0, and the glow radius, you see, we can set it to, let's say, 25. And as you can see, we have a nice glowing effect. What I don't like about this is that it creates some kind of dark shadow in these areas. Okay, so if you don't have a problem with this, you can, leave it as it is and go with it. We can also adjust the layer styles blending mode maybe. So let's try to set it to overlay. You see, now we have a little different effect. We can also play around with the blending modes of the glow effect itself. So we can set it to multiply, see, and we'll have some kind of different effect. We can set it to screen or to overlay as well, and get different variations of the blending modes. Alright, so with that said, we can improve the look of the scene even more by duplicating the glow effect from the boy layer and paste it to our light. And here we need to adjust the properties a bit different. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so I actually don't have a problem with the shadow creating in these areas, so I'm good with that. Let's continue improving the scene a bit more, and we can do it by adding some color correction effects for the boy layer. So the first effect I will add is the curse effect. Next, we can add the hue effect and place it below. Alright, so now when we finish with our main illusion of the reflection of the phone, we can create some micro reflections in the face or in the body of the character to enhance the reflection effect from the iPhone, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's make sure no layers is selected and create a shape for the eye like this. Okay, just try to trace the eye shape in this kind of way. And now we need to adjust the handles of the gradient field that applied on this layer. So let's select the selection tool and let's find the handles. I can't really find the handles, so to see them as we did earlier, let's open the shape and select the gradient. So here they are. So we need just adjust them a little bit to have something like this. All right, let me just correct this area here. We can can call this layer highlight. Okay, and now, as we did with the layer style opacity, we can also parent the opacity of this eye light to the opacity of our main light that comes from the phone, and it will enhance the effect even more. And you can go play around with it and add it to this area and to this area of the shirt, and yeah, it will enhance the effect of the reflection. But for now I'm good with that, and we can move on with the tutorial. So now let's go back to the project panel and pre-compose the layers we have here. Right, so select them all and right click, pre-compose, and let's call it boy comp 1. Make sure both are selected and hit OK. Alright, so here we have a new pre-comp, and now I want to create a nice mask, rounded mask that will also be a background for this character. So for this, make sure no layers is selected, and let's select the rectangle tool. This time you can hold Alt or Option and then click on here to hover the fill styles until you get the regular fill color. And now hold down Shift and create a square. Let's make it 1000 in its size, nice rounded number, and let's round it the corners, let's say to 150. We can also align this to the center of the comp, and let's set the preview to fit so we can see what we are doing. And now what we want to do is we want to make this make the boy visible only within the boundaries of this rectangle. So to do that, first let's go back to the selection tool and bring the boy character here. Okay, so we want to see this area. And now all we need to do to mask this scene, we need to open up the track matte functions here. Okay, and use the alpha of this layer for the boy character. Okay, and now bring back on the mask layer we have here. Let's actually change the name, so let's call it mask BG, something like this. Yeah, so now we can color this rectangle, and we can color it with the gradient color as well. Let's set this color here and this color here, but this time let's change the colors. Of course, first let's select this color and set the opacity to 100, and set this color to a dark blue one, and the second color let's set it to black or even darker blue, something like this. Yeah, and if you want to be precise with the with the gradient, just open the gradient effect here and make sure here it's 0, and here it's 0 as well, and here we can set it to 500, and here minus 500. Okay, so it will be perfect aligned with the shape. Great. So now all we need to do is we need to animate this shape to create some kind of intro for this scene. So let's stand at second 2, press S, and let's decide that the scale at this point in time will be 90, and at the beginning of the timeline it will be 0. And now let's select the keyframes and press Ctrl Shift K to reach the velocity panel, and set the velocity of the scale animation to 85 for incoming and outgoing velocity, which means that if we would change it using the speed graph, it's like we adjusted the handles in this kind of way. so the animation will start slowly, gain speed, and then you know, slow down toward the end. And now let's make the square close at after 2 seconds. So let's select the first keyframe, copy it and paste it here, and just make sure the velocity is the same, so it's okay in my case. So it looks like this. Very nice. We can also add some scale animation for the boy to make it a bit more interesting. So let's say the boy will start at the beginning when the scale is 100, and then at the end of the animation let's set it to, let's say, 90, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, a way I can actually reverse the keyframes, so it will start from small to big, so it will go from small to big. Yeah, something like this. Very nice. I don't want to easy those keyframes. I love the linear zoom-in animation, so I'll leave it as it is. And now let's select the two layers, press U, and stand at the end of the animation and hold Alt or Option and the right bracket key to crop the layers. Okay. And now let's create the same animation, but when the boy is looking up and with the brighter background. So first we need to duplicate the layer, the composition, of course, from the project panel, so we can make changes without affecting the first one. And now I want to select the boy layer, okay, and replace it with the boy 2 layer when it's looking up. So I'll hold down Alt or Option and drag it onto this layer to replace it. Great. So now I will take the eye shape that I have here, okay, and I place it in the right position. And of course we need to adjust the gradient. Okay, so in that case we already know, we just need to select the gradient fill, and here are the handles. So I just want to adjust them in this kind of way, so I have this area you know, with a transparent color like this. And in this time I want to change the color to yellow. Okay, like this. And now let's switch the first color actually to white, and as you can see, with the brighter color, the white here actually look better than the black one. So I will leave it in white like this. Now let's use the same phone light that we have and switch it to sunlight. All right. And let's place it in the upper area of the scene like this, somewhere around here. And using the pen tool, let's adjust this shape. All right, something like this. And of course we can adjust the gradient effect, the handles of the gradient effect to fit the light, you know, direction, something like that. And let's switch the color also to some yellow or orange that represents the sun. And again, let's switch the black to white for the first color. And of course, don't forget to change the layer style color of the inner shadow effect. I'm not parenting the colors of the scene because I want, like, you know, the layer style, the reflection will be maybe a little bit brighter or you know, a little bit darker. Okay, so I want the full control on this, and therefore I don't parent the colors. I prefer to use it to change them, you know, manually. And we also in this case can actually adjust the rotation of the angle of the layer style and place it like this. Okay, great. Let's see how that looks. It will look with the background. Okay, so for this, let's select both layers, press Ctrl D to duplicate them. Let's place this layer here, this layer is here, and now replace this comp with the new comp we just created. So again, hold Alt and drag it onto the comp that you want to replace. And now we can actually adjust the position here. And in my case, I will press S and delete the keyframes and set it to 100 or maybe 150, because I don't want to see the phone and I want to place the head here. And as you can see, I'm a lack of light from the sun, so we can enter here and we can bring this layer a bit closer. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks nice. And using the pen tool, I want to adjust the sun light a bit bigger, to make it a bit bigger, like this. Very nice. And for this one, now I actually can see here the font, so I'll bring it here. And now let's adjust the colors of the background and make them brighter colors. So for this one, let's make some warm colors, make it some orange. And for this one, let's try yellow. All right. Yeah. Like something like this. And we can flip the colors, of course, to see how it will look. Yeah, I prefer it like this. And here we have the sun reflection. And because now we're using brighter colors and lights and reflections, so maybe you want to go here and open the layer styles and try a different blending mode for it. So let's try lighten, okay, and maybe multiply. Let's see how that looks. No, let's try overlay. Overlay looks nice, but you get the idea. Yeah, just play around with the blending modes if you're using some I don't know, unique colors. I just want to adjust the eye here, eye shape that I created. Something, oi. Something like this. And you can also, of course, adjust the blending mode of the shape. As you can see, maybe in screen blending mode, yeah, it will look a bit nicer. And I want to adjust the gradient handles like this. I don't want it to be here. Okay, so here is a nice reflection. Let's bring it to normal and see how it will look. Yeah, actually this looks nice. All right, now let's just create a animation for the scale animation for this one. So maybe go from 120 at the beginning, and for this one go to 150. Like here we have the zoom in, and here we have a small zoom out. So it will look like this. Very nice. So because of this, we're talking about about sun, and the sun can actually flicker in this kind of way. And we want it to flicker a bit slower, so for this select the sunlight, press E double times to open up the expression only, and here for the flickering times in seconds, let's set it to 2, and now it will flicker like fewer times, and it will look a bit more realistic. Yeah, there are the changes that you want to make. To finish everything up, let's press Ctrl or Command Y to create a new background layer for the scene. Let's make it white and place it below the layers. Go at the end of the animation, press N, and see the animation that were just created. Everything looks okay. Alright, so with that we have finished the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this one and you have learned something new today. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, and of course subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and I see you in the next one.